Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. As Tasmania prepares to fall into foreign ownership, pressure is mounting on the state government not to let its new owners off the environmental hook. The local anti-fish farming campaign going national, with ads targeting the Premier and Primary Industries Minister placed in interstate newspapers.
A local issue getting national media attention. This morning's Age, Sydney Morning Herald and Financial Review, the latest battleground in the anti-fish farming campaign.
Trying to get our message across to businesses, we're getting our message across to mainland consumers that eating salmon is killing Tasmania.
An open letter from activists addressed to Jeremy Rockcliffe and Primary Industries Minister Joe Palmer, warning them of Cook aquaculture, which is set to cast its line in Tasmania.
What you're taking on is something you have no idea about how much of a problem Cook aquaculture is going to be.
After years of trying, the Canadian seafood giant is expected to reel in tassel at a shareholder meeting tomorrow. The state government welcoming the billion-dollar buyout.
It's wonderful that there are large companies from around the world seeing that as something they want to invest in. We welcome overseas investment.
For others, it's fishy business. Tassal's practices have already been under scrutiny, but global protesters who met online this morning say Cook has a reputation from Scotland to America.
If lobsters or shellfish could speak, they would be running scared away from Cook. That's how bad this company is. It's one of the world's worst salmon farming companies.
They're not suitable for Atlantic salmon. They're not deep enough. They're not fast flowing enough.
Concerned they'll take a mile if given a legislative inch.
It is extremely litigious. Anything that it does wrong, it will fight all the way through.
Will be expected to do their part to comply and to protect our environment from harm.
If approved, Tassal will join human aquaculture and petunia in foreign hands. The state government, however, is confident its new environment protection laws will strengthen regulation.
Provide for greater transparency, greater sharing of monitoring data, more independence for our EPA.
Tassal declined to comment when approached today. John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
A parliamentary committee has pointed to the operational problems that went unaddressed in our schools during the peak of the pandemic. The revelations come as new COVID strains emerge and infection rates jump once again in Tasmania.
When COVID was first reaching Tasmanian shores, educators attempted to be on the front foot, but their solutions were met with initial pushback.
We put forward suggestion to follow the Victorian model of supplying air filters into schools, air purifiers into schools to try and help provide safe air. We were told, no, that's not going to happen.
Those ideas then accepted months on from when they were first put forward. A similar story of inconsistent messaging also echoed by the early childhood sector.
Some directors were told they have to close the room and can't operate that room for a period of time, and another service was told, no, we just exclude that child from care.
The issues were raised at a Public Accounts Committee hearing today examining COVID protection. It comes as cases have spiked by 27% in the last week alone. 2 new Omicron sub-variants detected.
We're deeply concerned that Premier Rockcliffe has done nothing different to respond to this change in the pandemic.
There are fears the health system won't be able to cope with the new strains in the community, with the state's emergency departments already operating under significant pressure.
We're calling on the Premier to act swiftly, to bring in some mandated protections, mask wearing in indoor spaces.
All while transitioning to living with the virus continues. The government believes it's well equipped to handle the fight.
We know what to do. We've learnt now how to individually and as organisations deal with the risks of COVID. We will see more variants and waves.
Grace Evans, 7 Tasmania News.
The alleged reason Tasmania's chief psychiatrist had his licence suspended has been revealed. It's accused late last year Dr Aaron Groves commenced a personal relationship with a former patient described as highly vulnerable. He was suspended last month. He then appealed to TASCAT asking for a stay of that action, but that was dismissed. A murder trial of a Burnie father is drawing to a close, with the jury continuing hearing closing statements today. 5 people have denied killing 23-year-old Bobby Medcraft more than 2 years ago. Defence for one of the accused has urged jurors to look at these cases separately, stating there are 5 separate trials going on here. Earlier, the prosecution wrapped up its case, urging members of the jury to carefully examine the sword used in the murder and consider whether the chop was likely to cause death. Closing statements will continue tomorrow. A 74-year-old man has been slapped with a raft of firearms and explosive charges following a 2-day search near Burnie. Police found unregistered firearms, ammunition and explosives at a Kui property. A bomb response group was brought in yesterday to detonate old explosives found as part of the search. Burnie detectives are continuing to investigate. Well, Labor is making a last-ditch effort for the Student Works education facility to continue in its industry-focused model form. Student Works provides vocational training for young people who aren't getting results in the traditional schooling system.
But fundamentally, we know that the young people that have succeeded here have needed to come out into this separate learning environment with a work environment placed around them, with qualified tradespeople guiding them to be able to set them on the pathway that they need.
What worries me though is that the program is going to be watered down to the extent that kids won't want to come here.
The Education Minister says a hybrid model which focuses on vocational training and traditional literacy and numeracy will deliver greater educational outcomes. A truck crash caused chaos this morning at Longford after a rollover, a container load of potatoes spilling across Illawarra Road. It took more than 3 hours to clear the scene. No serious injuries were reported. Crash investigators are working to determine the cause. The School Lunches pilot program is expanding, with more Tasmanian schools to be included. Teachers and students are giving it an A+, saying it is showing results.
Finding time to prepare food can take a bite out of your morning, but to help hungry students, breakfast, morning tea and lunch is served by Cosgrove High School 3 days a week.
Well, the butter chicken is always pretty good, but I think everything is really just super.
It's just nice to sit down with friends and have a good meal.
It's now been added to the state government's pilot School Lunches program.
It's really about providing that breadth of choice, expanding their health literacy for their food choices here at school, having them ready for learning and engaged in learning.
15 new schools are being added to the program, taking the statewide number to 30.
Every school is different in terms of their needs and also their facilities that they've got, their access to volunteers and supplies.
Some schools have got the most amazing setups, commercial kitchens because they've got year 11 and 12 hospitality or year 9 and 10 hospitality. Some have a pie warmer, a traditional canteen.
The benefits are showing in learning outcomes in class behaviour. Teachers say full stomachs equal full attention.
When you haven't got food and you're not eating and you're trying to learn, your concentration levels aren't there.
The Menzies Institute is evaluating the program with the potential for further expansion.
We're investing in the program and we're investing in the evaluation, which covers not only what the benefits are, but what's the best way of running it.
Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
Blunston Arena is pulling out all stops ahead of the WBBL's return this weekend. Cricket Tasmania has lured green-thumbed volunteers to Hobart to work alongside some of the state's top curators. It's part of an initiative to attract more women to the turf industry.
They're the curators responsible for preparing the wicket and grounds ahead of this weekend's matches. The opportunity to work in Tasmania is one not to be missed.
I'm actually 5 weeks into a brand new job and I had to convince my boss to let me come and he's like, yeah, no worries.
All-rounder Talia is keen to learn more about keeping wickets up to standard from Blunston's top curators.
It was just more of the experience, something different because I come from a golf background.
The grass is greener at Belrive, with the interstate volunteers making the trip south this week. It's all part of a groundbreaking groundskeeping program to boost the number of women in the turf sector.
We currently make up like 1% of the workforce in the greenkeeping industry. So we're looking at how we can retain them, get more girls through from school.
Talia and Kim making the cut. The apprentices helping the local crew prepare and present the ground for this weekend's WBBL matches.
I just got a big interest in cricket. I play on the weekends and help prepare the pitch at my local cricket club. So I was like, if I can get any work experience out of this, then yeah, that'd be great.
Among the job criteria, a love of the great outdoors and game day. Apprentice Kelsey finding her groove in a new career.
I went into a totally different industry and then was looking to do something different and really just sort of stumbled across this job, and I'm really thankful that I did.
Annie Green, 7 Tasmania News.
And the search is on for a lucky Tasmanian who has won $1.5 million in last weekend's Tats Lotto draw. The lot says the winning ticket was purchased at the Moona News Agency on Main Road. It's asking residents to check their tickets as soon as possible. A carefully curated wine list promoting top Tassie drops has been named the state's best by Wine Tasmania. Launceston Stillwater says it has developed long-standing relationships with its vineyards, some stretching back to when the restaurant opened 22 years ago.
In an old flour mill built in the 1830s sits sommelier James Welsh's prize-winning wines, the state's best, according to Wine Tasmania.
It takes many, many years of tasting and scrutinising wines to find joy.
Now the joy is all his. The award-winning list even has some of the same producers which were on the list back when Stillwater opened in the year 2000.
They're like a family to us, and we're a place that they can showcase their wares.
And what James and the staff showcase has been finely tuned over the years.
Feedback from the panel was it's probably the best list that Stillwater's put forward, which was really great to hear.
Stillwater's collection also includes what was voted the world's best recently released Pinot Noir overnight, the Toll Puddle Pinot from the Coal River Valley, bestowed with the honour over in Singapore. While Bar 2 took out the best small wine bar list, a new category in the awards.
Really good producers that I know consistently making great wine, so it's always easy to sell.
His all-Tasmanian collection is only limited by the size of the bar. Tim Birmingham loves all wine, but tries to wear an impartial hat when sifting through what to have on the shelf.
I look at what I like and what is good quality, what is exceptional quality.
The Old Bank of Geeveston and Hobart's Eat the Wild were other winners, rounding out an exclusive list. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News. To hockey, Tassie Tigers debutant Ruben Hoey says he relished playing his first Hockey 1 game on the road. The 17-year-old ran out against Perth on the weekend and nearly scored a goal with one of his first touches. He says he didn't feel the pressure playing in the West, although he's now looking forward to facing New South Wales in front of a home crowd in Hobart this Friday.
That was Ruben Hoey.
The team seems in much better shape than it was at the start of the year, where the guys have built a bit more chemistry.
The Tigers women's side must win both Friday's game and the following match against Melbourne to have any shot at playing finals.
You know, we've got nothing to lose. Just have a real dip, give it everything we've got.
Fans can head along to the Tasmanian Hockey Centre for all the action starting from 6:30 on Friday night. After taking out the National Holden HQ Championship, Hobart driver Phil Ashland will enjoy something of a victory lap in Victoria this weekend. He's racing against other past winners in the Victorian State Series at Sandown in his last race of what's been a hugely successful year. Adding to the emotion, his HQ has a tribute to his brother Shane, who passed away.
I followed his footsteps, I guess, and followed him into racing, and then something we've always chased together, and it was good to achieve that, even after he passed away.
Phil became the first Tasmanian to win the National HQ title on the mainland in the championship's 35-year history when he won at Darwin's Hidden Valley back in July.
Good evening. Minimum temperatures reaching as low as -3 overnight at Kunani, Mount Wellington and Lyowini. Launceston recorded the high of 17 today, Hobart 13, Burnie 15 and Devonport 14. Lyowini reaching just 6 today after that cold start. Luncheon Hill and Strawn 11, 12 at Grove, Maria Island and Bushy Park 13, 14 for King Island, Flinders Island and Low Head, St Helens 15 and 16 at the Friendly Beaches. Here on the satellite, widespread low-level cloud is seen about the west and south, extending across the state during the day. A frontal cloud band moves over Tasmania, extending into the Bight, with cold air to the west of the state, generating speckled convective cloud. Tomorrow, a cold front moves away from Tasmania to the east, bringing a cold and gusty southwesterly airstream to the state. A high-pressure centre moves over the Bight, extending a ridge into the mainland. West to southwesterly winds tomorrow 20 to 30 knots, seas 2 to 3 metres. A strong wind warning issued for most of the state's coastal areas tomorrow, including Frederick Henry Bay, Storm Bay, the Derwent Estuary, Banks Strait and Franklin Sound. Also a minor flood warning for the Macquarie, Meander, North and South Esk rivers, and a sheep grazier's warning for cold, wet and windy conditions around the northwest coast, the Midlands, the Upper Derwent Valley and southeast forecast districts. Cloudy in Hobart tomorrow, 16, 15 and a shower or two at Cygnet and New Norfolk. Partly cloudy conditions in the north, Launceston 18, Devonport 17 and Campbelltown 16. 15 in Burnie, partly cloudy, showers at Strahan 15 and a shower or two at Smithton 16. Partly cloudy skies in the east, 18 at St Helens, Swansea 17 and Fingal 16. The UV is very high 8s tomorrow and sunset is at 7:55 p.m. A fine day ahead on Friday, apart from showers about the west and far south. Possible light showers about the west and far south on Saturday, mainly fine elsewhere, and a fine day Sunday apart from possible light showers. A sunny day tomorrow in Perth, 31, Cairns mostly sunny, 33, and 33 in Darwin with a possible storm. Right now in Hobart it's partly cloudy and 10, Launceston partly cloudy 13 and Devonport partly cloudy as well 12. And I'll see you tomorrow night, Kim.
You will indeed. Thank you, Carmen. That is all your news for now. We'll have news, sport and weather updates later. Good night.